What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate business into a life of freedom.
Is that the second time you messed that up?
I know it's the second show in a row I've messed up our own intro. Although this is for different reasons. I knocked my own earbuds out of my ear while delivering the intro. So I've challenged anyone, any podcasting pro, to beat me on that and try to play through that.
That's where all your lines are being delivered from. I can understand.
Exactly. I've got my assistant over here delivering my lines. First of all, we've got a great guest for you guys today. Justin Zimmerman is back. We're going to talk about something completely different this time. We talked about content marketing last time. We're actually going to talk about morning rituals and success habits with Justin today, because Justin, much like me and Greg, is a student of success, an eternal experimenter on his own life and in the lives of especially him and his girlfriend and friends and people that he gets to influence at Red X in the office there. So we've got a bunch of stuff we're going to get into today about what we're doing, what we're experimenting with, what we've seen work for other successful people. So we'll bring Justin in. We'll talk about that. And of course, the junior grandmaster is here and mocking me already, which will be summarily returned. So just you wait, Greg McDade.
I hurt. I went out to this thing called Oyster Fest at this place called the Water Bar in San Francisco. Very, very high-end restaurant yesterday. We do it every year with friends, and I did the cardinal sin of every white man. I drank white wine in the sun, and then I drank champagne, and I hurt from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. I am hurting. So forgive me, everyone, today, because I am not 100% here, but I cannot wait to hang out with Justin, who, for some reason, his name is Kevin today on screen. But my name is probably Matt, so it's probably fair.
And together, we're all three going to be somebody else.
There's got to be a way to change that.
I'm changing it right now. There it is.
Right.
But I'm so excited. Kevin and I have these. Kevin. Justin and I have these crazy skunk work calls every day at 4:00, and we come up with these crazy cool ideas on how to use Red X with real estate and how to do all this cool weird stuff together. And with his help, he got me into Red X and their systems. And I have 2,453 old expireds, 10 years and newer, that are back. And we did calls on Friday night last week just to see how they went. They went amazing. Justin, you were on it. I mean, tell me what you think about it.
Yeah, well, I told you at the end of that I'm going to share that with my team, and I wasn't joking. I just before this went in there and I said, guys, I don't have a lot of time to chat today about the things we normally do on Mondays. I got to jump on this call. But here's the link. Go watch this. And I think that there was a lot to take away from it. People who were watching it, they got to see you do what you do best, work your charm. But I think the way it went was just, I couldn't have asked for, a better explanation and example.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. But today we're going to be talking about successes and morning habits and rituals and everything else, right, Matt?
Right. Yep. So Justin, you and I definitely, since we connected, we're kind of joking and bouncing back and forth on some things. And first of all, tell people about the shower notes, the shower posts.
Oh, dirty mind. That's what I got back. I was totally not thinking about it that way. And I'm like, yep, I stepped into that one real good. So anyways, shower notes, right? So how many of you out there, when you're in the shower, you got your head underneath the faucet or the shower head, and you're just like, that idea just pops in. You got this total connection with exactly the right thing, the idea, the problem solved, and there was some, for whatever reason, I'm sure science has got a good explanation. We can go research that afterwards and read all about it. But for whatever reason, the shower is a great cocoon for ideas, right? You feel connected to your thoughts. You're not distracted. And so a couple of years ago, I found these things called aqua notes, which are just basically waterproof shower notes, and they're not designed to stick to the walls, but for whatever reason, when you get them wet, they do. You get a little pencil in there, and their little tagline is never let another good idea go down the drain. And so when I connect with people who've got the enthusiasm, the the ideas, entrepreneurial and spirit, as a gift. I tend to give these out and send them to people. And so my entire bathroom, my entire shower is actually a giant whiteboard to some degree with just great affirmations, things to remind myself of who I am when I forget, right? The goals, what you focus on expands, and the shower is a great place to reconnect with like the ritual of starting every single day. We get a new chance to hit our goals, set new goals, become a better person. And like that ritual, the cleansing and restarting, there's no better place. And so I use my shower as kind of a place to recharge and refocus. And little notes I made to myself that I forgot. Oh yeah, that was important to me. Principles, kind of, there's a bunch of different things on there, but yeah, or just like, hey, I got to go do this thing before I forget, and it just, could be just something, a task for the day. Gets it out of my head, rip the shower note off, and I'll bring it with me.
Yep.
I actually received those in the mail, and I was completely baffled. So I was supposed to be receiving a Chromecast in the mail, and I'm like, did Amazon totally foobar my order? Like, did someone get my Chromecast and I got their sticky notes for the shower? What the blank is going on here? And then Justin hits me up and goes, hey, bro, did you get my gift? I'm like, what gift, man? He's like, the sticky notes for the shower. I'm like, oh, that explains so much. Yes, I did. And I have yet to put them in my shower, but they are in my closet. They're going to come out of the closet, and they're going to go into the shower. That sounds horrible when I say it like that.
Well, the shower is a sticky subject.
Oh my God!
That's well
All right,
done,
so
Justin.
I'm going to make this one. I'm going to take this up a little, up a notch here. But just a funny side note is like I send these things as gifts to people, and the first round I did maybe like a couple years ago, I didn't realize I had two different versions. They have don't make the mistake of sending someone the love note version of the shower notes, which I accidentally did to friends and coworkers.
There's a love note version.
There's a love note version. Yeah, there's a love note version.
Please tell me they are pre-printed with saucy sayings.
I don't know what's on them, but I know the color is red. Yeah, I think I might have sent one to like Mike Reese or Jay Kinder.
Poor Mike. Poor Mike. Oh my God.
He might have not known what is this, and so
awesome.
Baffled.
Yeah, that's why when you go through Amazon, you don't always put a gift note attached. Sometimes you just leave a blank.
To you, my friend, much love. Hugs and
Exactly.
kisses.
Exactly.
It's like, no.
Oh man, I will say this though. Getting back to like why the shower is a good place, and I'll throw a theory out here because I've been working with my business coach on something that does not involve the shower, but it does involve our unconscious minds, and it's part of why I think the shower is a good spot for thinking. It doesn't necessarily work for me. I will say that the shower is not a place where I tend to get a lot of ideas. I'm not quite sure why. It might have to do with the cold shower routine, and which might cause both my body and mind to rebel and fight back at me. But so one of the things I've been working on with my business coach is rebuilding the broken link between my conscious and subconscious mind or unconscious mind. In other words, you've got guys that are phenomenal inventors, daydreamers, problem solvers, guys like Ray Kurzweil and Thomas Edison was like this. Any great inventor is like this. Justin, we were talking behind the scenes about Buckminster Fuller and all the cool things that he invented. A lot of those guys, they are the reason they can do what Edison did, like go take a nap and then get up and go, oh, that's what it was. That's the next thing I need to try in my quest to invent the light bulb, is because they have a better existing bridge between their conscious and unconscious minds. In other words, that link is not broken, and so their conscious mind, when they wake up from a nap or from whatever, is able to like kind of bridge that gap between their conscious and unconscious minds and reach back and kind of unearth solutions to problems that our unconscious mind has been working on while we're asleep. Right? Because this all happens automatically. And before I started working with my coach and started really delving into his writings, I completely discounted that. I was like most of us, and I just said, I don't remember my dreams. No big deal. I don't want to remember them anyway. They're not that great. Why would I want to remember them? And he really drove the point home, like, no, if you don't remember your dreams, it's because that link is broken, and that link is where you get all that problem-solving ability from your unconscious. So I think the shower might be one of those places where, just because of the nature of it, like we let our minds drift, and it's probably early in the morning for us anyway. So that bridge between our conscious and unconscious minds is still there, or still semi there. Does that make sense?
No, the real reason why is that everything is energy in life. And so with everything being energy, water is a conduit. That's why spas, pools, rivers, lakes, showers, anything like that will help translate any thought that we have in our subconscious into our conscious minds. That's why when you sit in the shower and people kind of daydream, that it's not just because it just happens. There's a physical reason why that does take place, and that's why I'm so excited why Kevin/Justin, he actually is the guy who gave me those notes, and they're in my closet. I'm actually gonna get them out and put them in my shower, because things like I'll just sit there in the hot water and just think about stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I just solved all of humanity's problems when it comes to traffic. And then as soon as the water turns off and the towel gets on, I'm like, wait, what was that thought? What's going on? Yeah, no.
See, this is why we still have world hunger, Greg. If you would just get on top of it, come on, man.
That's what I'm saying, Matt. That's what I'm saying. Delta Rat is here.
All right, Justin. Before we go too far, in case people didn't catch your last episode, briefly tell us who you are, what you do, what the Red X is.
Sure. Great. Yeah. Hi, I'm Justin.
Skip right over that.
Director of Content here at RedX. We are a prospecting platform that helps real estate agents get all the seller leads they need from a number of different sources, allow them to manage all those leads in one place, and with a few clicks, also dial those leads and set listing appointments. And so as Greg's been experiencing, we scrub the do not call list. We make it super simple, easy to, that was a face.
I deleted something, sorry. Keep going, but no, you guys did awesome work.
Expired leads, FSBO leads, FURBO leads, pre-foreclosure leads, and instead of having multiple lead sources in multiple places, integrating and syncing, we just give you a nice, clean user interface to dial and set those listing appointments. And so if you follow Greg on his Greg McDaniel's Facebook page, I guess if you want to call it that, and his live prospecting, he's been using the system for a day or two now, and he's demonstrating what it's like, and it's been interesting and exciting to watch what he's done with RedX.
No, it's been really, really fun. I mean, I was really getting tired of calls. Honestly, I was getting just burned out. I was done with them. And this is not a pitch for you guys. This is just a pitch for changing up your rhythm and your stride. Because when Justin, when you introduced RedX to me and we started using your platform, it's like a kid in a candy shop. There's so many fun things to play with. It's like you can't help yourself. Like every single day of the week, you can get in there and you can play with a new vertical and get new opportunities. It's like unwrapping presents.
If you knew Mark, our CEO, it's funny how culture of a company, of a person is set from the top, and how it filters down even to the user and the product. And someone who's been in a number of different companies who's focused on culture, that it's really interesting to hear you say that, because if you knew our CEO, Mark, he's kind of like that. He loves just toys and tinkering and figuring things out. And I'm sure somewhere in the invisible hand of Adam Smith got spread down into the product itself. Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, Capitalist 101.
Wow. I was going to say, man, I love the Adam Smith reference just sprinkled in.
Anytime I can check that off.
Exactly. Anytime we can spring classical liberal economics into the show, I'm all for it. Greg, what have you said about that?
I have nothing to say. I have zero to say. I thought there was going to be some sort of religion thing in there. I know you're in Salt Lake City. I'm like, Adam Smith. I think there's a Smith involved.
There's a Smith, a different Smith.
Yeah,
I think Joseph Smith was Adam Smith's younger cousin's fifth removed.
Dog Walker's cousin from college.
That's right. Oh man. Okay. Well, so
tablets,
Justin, take me back a little bit, because there was something that you mentioned. I think it was before we went on the air, but you've been thinking a lot about applying agile marketing to non-marketing settings, which I don't even know how that's. I don't know a ton about agile marketing, so forgive me. But give us a couple examples of what agile marketing principles are.
Sure. I think you have to take away the marketing. You just go to Agile. And to tie it together with the theme that we're trying really hard to stay on top of, which is personal development practices, I'll try to bring it back to us for that. And so I've always just been interested in becoming stronger, faster, better, smarter, more effective, name all the little adjectives that go with personal development. Waking up early, routines, schedules, And I've been kind of coming up with my own version, if you were to look inside my shower, which, if I could send you guys a picture of it, you would see that I would scrawl out some, scratch pad note ideas of like, you could call it time blocking, you could call it choice management sections, but in essence, I would try to think about what does my day need to look like, and what are the themes of those days, of that time look like, and how many of those time boxes do I have in order to get everything that I can get done, or the most prioritized things to get done, right? You can't do everything. And so just kind of playing with time and playing with rhythm routines and starting to look at the bucket of things that are possible to do. I've probably spent like 5 or 6 years really writing this stuff out and thinking about it. As I got into the role I'm at now here at RedX, not just personal goals and personal effectiveness, but now I'm looking at team operations and team effectiveness, and I started to see the similarities between personal development. Then we can focus on some really interesting words here, because you can connect the dots now. Is you've got personal development, and then you've got agile or Scrum or Lean or Kanban, all the different flavors. And if you look at the name of what they really root to, it's the development team. And so you have your development team, personal development team. And so all of a sudden I started to make some connections between rhythm and routines, daily stand-ups, and I'm like, wow, you could really like apply this to your life. And isn't life kind of agile? You wake up every day and some people it's agile minute by minute, sometimes it's day by day, week by week. And our lives, like they always say, what is it? There's a saying about planning, and that
God laughs at us when we do.
Yeah, laughs at us when we plan. And so you can put all the things forward, but applying agile to your individual life seems really similar to your team life. And then I kind of thought a little bit step further, and if you look at we talked about the word functional, dysfunctional, team, and home. And I'm pretty sure I would like to meet the person who doesn't have some sort of dysfunction in their past from their family. And what we bring from our past shows up on our present, and when we show up at work, we bring that with us in some unconscious way, as you were saying before, connecting your subconscious to your present or your consciousness. And so I'm starting to realize that like a dysfunctional team or in a dysfunctional home, there are similarities, and I would say structural stuff that you can start to think about the environment of your home and an environment of your workplace, that you can put some of these practices into place. And just to kind of wrap a lot up into a small little kind of summary here, is that how can you possibly expect to be the most functional person at work if you don't have the most functional life at home? And so I think
that might be the quote of the show right there.
Yeah. And so I've been really thinking about that. And so who I am as a leader on the team, who I am as a director, who I am as a writer, all those things, I just don't show up at work and all of a sudden that switch gets turned on. There are things I need to do. What I've learned about top prospectors, which is part of my job, we study the rhythm, the routines. There's so many similarities. There's principles here as rhythms and routines, and that support certain practices for certain disciplines. Content marketing, a discipline. Prospecting, a discipline. Rowing a boat with a bunch of dudes on a whatever that's called, a row. What's that? Crew discipline. Everything's a discipline, and so just there's rhythms and routines and principles and practices that apply. And so who I am and what I do in the morning and what I call my boot up sequence, what that looks like, and then timing and all that stuff shows up. And I've just started to really coalesce all that into like a kind of a singular approach and approach to life in general.
Love it. Yeah, and that's Greg, you and I have both worked on kind of our environment, our structure, and it's incredibly important when you start to work from home and all of a sudden your work environment kind of is your living environment. Like Justin, you briefly alluded to the fact that you don't have as much control necessarily over your work environment, and when you roll into an office that's owned by somebody else, that is 100% true. When you're like Greg and me, like the only outside office I have is one of the 17 locations of Starbucks that are within 5 minutes driving distance of my place. And so it's very different, obviously. So Greg, tell me a little bit about like what it's been like making the transition from stepping out of an office where you didn't have as much control to now it's your own environment. You have 100% control, but you also have 100% responsibility.
It was the double-edged sword, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's so much freedom that it can be a negative on you, but at the exact same time, you have so much ability to go out there and create your own everything. Jay Sammet, who has been on our show several times, he's going to come back on our show in 2019 when his new book comes out. He wrote a book called Disrupt You, which you guys see right in front of you. And this is the front half of his workbook. It's a 40-page workbook. And it is a profound thing that you can go download. Go to jsammet.com. You can download it and work through like disrupting you as a person. And so when it comes to changing your work environment, your morning routines and your habits and everything else, for me, it became not just like, hey, I show up to the office every day and now I'm productive and this is how life is and, look at me, rah, rah, rah. It's like, no, you have to actually produce to be seen. Otherwise, you're just not seen. And that was something that really opened my eyes. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, like, what do I have to do to be seen in today's world? And that was it. And so that's something that really kind of got me up and moving. In regards to like my habits have become extremely tight, except for today because I'm hungover. I drank way too much white wine and champagne in the sun yesterday while eating oysters. Horrible combination. Sounded wonderful at the beginning of the day, horrible at the end of the day. And then I sat in 2 hours of traffic on one street in San Francisco. I legitimately thought I was going to run out of gas. I watched the meter just tick down in the beast. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get home.
Yeah. Well, as I am contractually obligated to give at least 17 book recommendations during the show, I have to bring this up. So I read this book recently called The Remote Revolution because I interviewed the author on my other show. And one of the things
you're cheating on me?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
I know, it's terrible.
What?
So he's a digital media agency owner that had an office in San Clemente with 20 people in it. He shows up and his business partner rolls in. They roll in together and they announce the decision like, hey, we're going completely virtual. So as of Monday, you guys don't have to show up to the office anymore. And so they went completely remote. He went completely remote. He went and actually traveled through Europe and South America for a year and managed his agency remotely. And that was one of the things that he pointed out is that the idea that like if you don't produce, you're not seen, right? Like you just like everything is getting to the point now where if you don't produce the results, like it's getting more and more apparent. Like we're getting better at tracking. We're getting better at seeing like what's really working and rolling into an office and showing up and work being a place that you go is going by the wayside. Work is becoming something that you do, and if you don't actually have any way to show what you've done and the results that you've produced, then you might as well have not done the activity because shuffling the paper and getting the coffee and standing around talking to coworkers doesn't count anymore. It's just literally nobody sees it, nobody cares, you're not getting paid for it. So I think that was a really good point. Like if you don't produce results, you don't get seen. The only way to get seen is to produce results. And Justin, I don't know if you're seeing that yet with like what you guys are doing with the Red X office there, but it's an interesting thing that I think is going to come to all of us, whether we like it or not.
That's a great topic that we're diving into. Maybe a little off topic from where we are, but I think it still fits into what we're talking about. Is one of the things here at Red X that I've put a huge amount of emphasis into, and it was almost like you look at the. Okay, yeah. So going off topic, pull me back when you need to.
Okay.
But
we'll pull back into personal development and how that affects our performance.
And we can make it. I'll use the keyword. Let's say goals or tasks visualized is kind of the placeholder for this, right? So. You can only really work on things that you can see, right? And they kind of like the saying, you can only manage what you can measure. And so one of the huge things that I've put a lot of energy and emphasis into Red X that I didn't know needed to be done before I really took the reins of what we're building here is that like the iceberg, underneath it all at the tip, it's easy for people to look at and get excited by. We're going to develop a product. We're going to create some sort of amazing, whether the product's a digital product, a podcast, or a physical product like Vortex and our lead management system, or just a product like a toy or whatever. It's easy to say, here's the thing we want to create. It's really exciting. You can come up with the purpose. People can rally around what it looks like, and then you can get people involved. But the really unsexy, most valuable thing that I've realized needed to be worked on before, because I came to RedX to build a product, a content product, the experience that people come and get from our RedX content is the product. But before I could build that, I realized that the process that went into creating it was necessary. And so as we talk about remote work, the visualization of all those tasks, of who's going to do what, it's hard to hide from a dashboard. It's hard to hide when people are talking about what needs to be done and it's clear in front of everybody. And so kind of whether it's going back to the theme of our show today, personal development or team development using agile or non-agile processes, like if you don't have the thing in front of you that needs to be done and it's not clear and accountable to others, like we all know coaches tell us, if you don't have a system to manage that and visualize it and you're looking at it on a day-to-day basis, you're going to drift, you're not going to get things done, and you're going to lose track on your goals.
Love it. And it's funny you use the word drift. Is that come from Outwitting the Devil, the Napoleon Hill book?
I heard.
You read that?
No, I know that's his book. He had like a supernatural experience with the devil, or his wife translated it, or some sort of weird, crazy thing like that. No, I've never read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and whether you believe it's real or not, I don't think it really matters. But yeah, that's one of the terms he uses in there. And Greg, you and I are both big fans of that book. He talks about drifting. Mm-hmm. So anytime you don't have your eyes on that definite purpose, you're drifting, which is what most people do most of the time. It's very easy. Like that's our kind of natural state.
Yeah.
And I stumbled across something over the weekend that really drove the point home for me. And I wish I could remember what it was. I think it was something to do with, I was watching some videos by Commander Mark Divine, the guy that wrote Unbeatable Mind, and he does the SEAL Fit stuff out here in Southern California. And I think he was in one of his videos where they said the brain is looking to, essentially like protect yourself and conserve calories. So you're always going to kind of like process things very quickly. You're going to put things into mental buckets very quickly. We're always telling ourselves stories. All those things happen because we're trying to do things like conserve energy. We have to recognize that because of that, we have a tendency that if left unchecked, essentially, we're going to drift. Like our mind wants to conserve brain calories, brain calories that it takes.
Like
to burn
laziness is actually a survival skill, it sounds like.
Partially, yes, exactly. So there's a drive to do, and there's an equal tension against that. There's a drive to not do. There's a drive to rest and relax and drift. So yeah, that's definitely something that we need to be aware of, because not only do we do it naturally, and that's why I want to talk about like morning routines and how we break out of that. But teams do that too. Like teams left unchecked, left undirected, will absolutely drift. People show up and they just do what's in front of them without really thinking about the greater goal, without visualizing what the next stage is. That's why when it really comes down to it, most people need to be led. They're begging to be led, is what Jay Abraham said. And so if you're part of a team and you're looking around, you can't find the leader, that's probably because maybe there isn't one, right. And they're looking for you to step up. That was the point of what Mark Divine was saying in this particular video I was watching is, look, if you look around and somebody's not stepping up to be the leader, it might as well be you, because the other people are looking for that somebody. They're looking for somebody to step up. And so, guys, if you're listening and watching or whatever, and you're rolling into an office and there's no leader in that office, it's right for somebody to step up and be a leader. Same goes for your family. Same goes for your extended family and your network of friends and all that good stuff. Greg, anything you want to comment on before we dive into sharing our morning routines?
No, not really. You guys pretty much are nailing it on the head. When it comes to leadership, you have to lead yourself first. You have to, don't look around for someone to lead you. Just lead yourself. Be that person, be that guy, be that gal, be that individual that will be that beacon of light, not only just in your life, but also in the lives around you. But don't look to be a leader. Just look to be a better version of you. And a lot of people look to be a leader for recognition. Where I think that's where the big problem lies, is that people always want to be recognized, and especially in today's day and age, how many Instagram followers, how many Facebook friends, how many Snapchat whatevers are out there or whatever else on social media. But in reality, if you just step up and you say, hey, look, I'm going to be the best version of me today, and next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, I'm going to work on myself. I find a problem, I'm going to find the solution to that problem and keep moving forward. But we all look to be recognized for it. But I think if you just look to be the best version, you will be recognized without trying to be. And really,
100%
nobody says that out loud because it's uncool to not be like the cool kid in school. But if you go look at any of those teen movies, I mean, who was always the hero in the teen movies? The dork. I mean, the person who wasn't trying to be recognized, but then became the hero of the story. Same thing with our lives. I mean, we're all our own dork. We're all our own, version of us, right? That nobody sees. Everyone sees our outward version. Nobody sees our inward version. So start showing your inward version a little bit more and just stop giving a royal fuck about anybody else out there and just caring about you, where you're going to go, what you need to improve on, and people will start to follow you. Trust me on that. I mean, Matt followed me a long time ago, and he's never stopped.
I fall right in line. It does bring up a good point, Justin, as far as like who we surround ourselves with. I think I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the guy said something to the effect of the people that we surround ourselves with end up a lot of times being the thing that inspires us to see a better version of ourselves if we surround ourselves with the right people. If we don't, we're going to get a different vision of ourselves for the future.
I thought you were about to read my mind, and you almost did. So yesterday, just to tap into this, is I guess I kind of started a meetup group around personal goals. I've got a concept for something called Goal House, which is if you have people who are all like-minded, positive thinking, and want to surround themselves with people who are committed to a further improvement of themselves in 3 categories. I call them 3 F's: food, fitness, and finance. If there were the rhythms and routines built into the days and the weeks where a leader could show people the right systems, the right rhythms, the right routines to practice all of those little disciplines, what you could get done. And so I was explaining this to someone yesterday, and I've kind of got 3 or 4 followers now. I created a Slack channel yesterday for the first time, and some people joined, and they want to be a part of it. And so what I said was, and this is not my quote. In fact, I think I heard it from someone who said Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins' mentor. That's who I'm saying. You can quote me. You can check the quote later. But basically, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Mm-hmm. And if you really think about that, what you just said about the people you choose are the people you become. And so we have the choice. I think that's what this is all about. When I was going before, a lot of us are born into circumstances that we don't have control over, but you get to a certain point in age in your life where you are an adult, you are responsible for your outcomes, your happiness, and you get to choose. And whether you realize you get to or not, that's where the sadness, that's where the disappointment, that's where the life of regrets really come into play. And so the more you know you have more power over your life and choices, environments and peoples and processes and all that, the more able you are to pick a better destination, as you said, Greg, just a little bit every single day. And I think a big part of that is structuring your environment. If you can structure your home to be optimal, and that's the whole principles behind Goal House that I'm working on in my own house with, our food, our finance, and our fitness. If you do all those things right, a lot of other things outside of your house, you can show up as that person with the energy, with the things that people are not quite sure. They're looking at you and they're like, you're doing something and I want to know what it is.
Yeah, there's I'm lucky enough to be spending time with this incredible human being more and more lately, and this person is
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
Oh, shut up, Matt.
We have spent a lot of time on the phone lately.
I thought you were talking about me, Greg.
well, both of you are my male BFFs, but I'm talking about a beautiful female friend of mine, and she doesn't know this, but she is pushing me every single time I'm around her or when I talk to her. She's pushing me to be a better version of who I am, because she's extremely accomplished at what she does, and she knows she's accomplished. She knows she makes a shit ton of money. She knows she's well versed in the world, but it's fun. I don't know why she's spending time with me, but we're not going to let that one we're going to let that one just skate by. But it's really fun to have someone in your life that pushes you to epic levels when they don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah.
And you just want to rise to the occasion. You want to show up better for that person, for yourself, for your life, for anyone else around you, because you don't want to be the chump that was there before. You are like, you know what? I'm not going to be the guy, or I'm not going to be the gal that I was in this last conversation. I'm going to go read something. I'm going to go, look up something. I'm going to go, research something. I'm going to show up next time we talk. It's going to be a better version. And it's very, 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 very rare when people, and I'm exactly like you guys, very rare when you actually want to step up. But when you do make that choice, you will see the difference between the people you've been hanging out with in the past and the people you want to hang out with in the future. And you will see a distinctive difference in them. You'll see, this is my old crew to the left. This is my new crew to the right. I want to be with this new crew. And you ask yourself, why do I want to be with that new crew? Because you become better. Because when you become better, you make the people around you become better. When the people around you become better, the people around them become better, and it's an exponential explosion of betterness. Betterness isn't really a word. That was a really good rant with a really bad word at the end. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this individual in my life, you know, whenever she and I talk, she'll just say something. I'm like, gosh, damn it! Like, ugh, that's another thing I need to fix. But it's like going to the doctor.
This is not your therapist, is it?
No, I pay her by credit card. This is actually I pay this one by food, which is great.
Pay this one by food.
And extremely expensive wine. Oh my God. Good Lord, people. I mean, why do you pay X, Y, and Z for bottles of wine? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's still red. It goes down the throat. It's still red.
All right, Justin, let's wrap up in the few minutes we have left, because I want to make sure we get to your boot up sequence, which I'm very curious about. Would you mind sharing that with the audience?
Yeah, so I talked about themes, buckets of themes throughout the day, right? And so the first theme that I look at, again, I used to work remote and was on, I guess, an extra hour of time. And so I've had to change things a little bit since moving to Salt Lake City. When I lived in Austin, had more time. But still, the time buckets don't change. The first bucket of time goes to me. I need to give to myself. It's about a 90-minute bucket of time right now, and I know I need to wake up at 5:30 in order to get out of bed. And I know it sounds silly, and there's a book by B.J. Fogg, Tiny Little Habits. I just started stringing one little action to the next. And so this might sound tedious, but this is thoughtfulness based on how is my body and my mind reacting after I do this, right? So the first thing I do is I have a glass of water next to my bed in the morning. I remember Tim Ferriss talked about how one of the first things to do is to have a drink of water. So we keep a jug of water in our room at night. So in the morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is I take about, it's not a giant, glass of water, just enough to where, like, if you really think about it, if you're trying to get your body in motion, what happens when you drink water? It like turns something on. You know that feeling? You just you awaken your insides. So I take a glass of water. Sometimes I finish all of it, sometimes I don't. So the first thing I do is just kind of like get the flow literally going inside of my body. And then, I usually will use the bathroom for a couple of minutes, and that's, obviously necessary too. And then, and this is kind of all timed, and I wish I didn't have to be so structured in time. I just have trains to catch in the morning, and if I had a little bit different of a schedule, it wouldn't sound so stringent. And so I don't want people to think this and say, man, you have to be like a by the book, by the minute guy or gal. It's just what I need to do right now, and I'd like to have a little bit more flexibility. But in general, the next thing I do, and that's about 10 minutes into this 90-minute session for my boot up sequence in the morning, is I do some stretching. I've been doing yoga for years now, so I kind of know a couple of things. Even if you don't do yoga, you can touch your toes or try to touch your toes, sit down on the ground or lean over, do some like backward bends, kick your legs in the air, just get some movement going. I just do a couple of little stretches for about 5 minutes. I've got a foam roller after that. I got a little bit of a shoulder thing I work out every morning, and so by then I'm at about 20 minutes into the morning, so it's from 5:30 to about 5:45, and then I know I've got a 2-mile run, 2.5-mile run depending on the route, and I head out, and that takes me about 25 minutes depending on, like I said, the time. And so I get my stretching, I get my water to get hydrated, and I get my run in, and I know I'm back by, I don't know, let's say 6:15, 6:20, and that gives me kind of the rest of the morning to then do a 10-minute meditation. I've got this guided meditation I've been following for years. It's 10 minutes long. I think it's called Heart Rhythm Meditation for Beginners on YouTube. I sit down, I sit in my office, sit on the floor, and because if I do the meditation before my run, I won't run. I won't want to get up. It's so relaxing. It just puts me in this calm space. And actually, breathing meditations, I don't know about you or anybody that's tried it, but I actually like will break a sweat because it's so intense when you're breathing in and out, in and out. And so I'm already sweating from my run. So I finished the meditation. I do another round of just quick stretches, about 5 minutes. I think sometimes my neighbors can see into my office, which is where I do my stretching at home. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm fully dressed, and sometimes much less. I don't care. Um, and then right around, I would say, the 6:35, 6:40 mark, take a shower, get cleaned up. I wear the same clothes pretty much every day. Everyone thinks that's silly and funny, and that's actually part of my thing I discovered a long time ago. Is if I'm always I used to get frustrated, like this thing doesn't match with this, and then these shoes, and I'm just like I'm spending time in the morning trying to like look good for who, and for what, and trying to like spend brain energy on so I basically have a uniform. I got a couple of black and white shirts, and it's a summertime uniform right now. So I throw that on, so it takes no time at all to get ready. Um, and then the next boot up sequence is really then I start to get into, and I don't always get to do this, but a little bit of journaling. And so Hal Elrod has a great book on this. Some of the things I pulled from him, he's got a great acronym in there. I think it's SAVERS. It's like solitude, affirmations. I don't know what the V stands. I don't know. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Visualization.
Scribing is the last one, just journaling.
And scribing. Yeah. So like a lot of those things, this is not like, I've discovered anything like entirely new here. I've just implemented it in my own way. And that if you follow something like that, and you just need to dedicate the time in the morning to doing it and trying it and see what in what orders works for you. And then finally at the end, I really got to say, like, a big, huge part of my success, and it sounds super silly, but I didn't know how to eat right for a really long time, right? I'd rush out the door. I would drink crazy ass energy drinks, have a crazy ass crash around 3 o'clock, feel like crap, then not have the willpower to make good food choice decisions, and then would eat junky food, and then the cycle would continue. And that's what I was bringing every single day is like, take off and crash like for weeks and weeks and years, and finally figured out over years how to like just totally give myself a foundation of food. That's why food, fitness, and finance kind of all go together. And I've engineered like the optimized keto smoothie for me every day. And now people in my office have seen, the results I've gotten from it. It's super simple to make and allows me to leave the day without having to worry about what am I going to eat, running around. And it takes one more variable out of the hunter-gatherer mindset. I can put that into my work and get more things done. So in essence, I'm out the door by 7:30. So from 5:30 to 7:30, it's about 2 hours, including like smoothie time and a little bit of time with my girlfriend to just catch up on the day and talk about our goals for the day.
Love it.
Your morning kind of sounds like mine a little bit, except for this morning when I've been a complete slob and lazy bastard. But most mornings, I'm up by 5:30, if not earlier, even including Sundays because I do the radio show on Sunday mornings now. So that's now 6 days a week. I'm up really early, but it feels good. I get up. I mean, I enjoy getting up early because you get to be around people that aren't normal. You get a leg up in the world.
I feel it.
It really is fun. I love being around the early birds, the whack jobs like us who are like, yeah, I'm going to take over the world. Let's get up early and make this happen. But then you get more done by lunch than most people do the whole entire day.
I love it.
You get the endorphins going, get the sweat going, get your brain moving. You sit down, you're productive, you're active, you're engaged, you're energized. A lot of folks, what really stops people, and I think, Justin, what you really hit on there was the food. A lot of us put shitty ass food in our body on a consistent basis. This weekend, I am completely guilty of that. But on the weekdays, I try to eat as clean as possible. Clean good fruits, clean vegetables, clean meats. And I feel better. Like your entire system just reacts better to it. Therefore, your brain will react better. Therefore, your results will see better results from it because your system is functioning. And we never really think about it. And I've talked about this several times on the show, is that I had an aha moment when I was actually listening to this podcast, and this guy was talking about the fact that like what you eat is affected by what you ate. And I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? Because I could be eating chicken or beef or something like that, but we don't know what did that chicken or that piece of beef eat before it was slaughtered, because that's not going into you. And my mom's always been a big health nut. Like, eat this, don't eat that, have this. By the way, anyone who's a parent, first off, you drop dead if you feed your kids, not kale, but carob. That stuff is a son of Satan. Especially when they say, like, oh, this is chocolate. It's not chocolate. It's carob. It's not chocolate. But I mean, you can do everything else healthy. It's horrible.
If you wanted to pull a practical joke on Halloween, carob treats for the kids.
You'll never have repeat customers.
Just make sure you do it from somebody else's house where you can leave and you don't have to clean up the eggs they'll throw.
Egg-proof paint.
Egg-proof paint, exactly. Hose it off afterwards. Oh, that's hilarious. That is true though, and I do agree with that, Greg. This what the thing that you're eating ate.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah. But I mean, but think about where you get everything. That also comes from the people you listen to. It also comes from the things that you read, because it's not just what they're saying; it's who's influencing them. Because that's what's going to influence you.
So mental food. That's a good.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to our point of surrounding yourself with positive people. The sum of the 5 people are the people you become, and so it's not just what you eat. It's again your environment and the people in it.
Everything you are sucking it in.
The food you eat and the environment they were in.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a compounding effect that you don't see that's in the past and that you don't understand that's going to be in the future. Just now, like, okay, I can control X, Y, and Z in my environment right now. Okay, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to keep people in or kick people out and they're going to better my life or worsen my life? I mean, it's if you really start thinking about it, you're going to start having some really uncomfortable decisions you're going to have to make, both about your physical environment and your personal environment, like the people and the things that you want to keep in or kick out. And you're going to look at it and be like, oh my God, Aunt Sue is so sweet, but she is such a bitch when she drinks. All right, well, when she drinks, don't be around her. All right?
Right.
I mean, sometimes being around Matt, I mean, it's very much the same thing. Like, do I want to be around him right now when he's cranky pants, rumplicated? Or is he going to be just a nice guy? He's shaking his head, although you guys can't see him. He's shaking his head, like with a funny grin on his face, like you son of a bitch.
How dare you?
I heard a great analogy a while ago. It's pretty simple and short. Is like it was told to me as if you think of your life as a garden, and there's a fence around that garden, and inside that garden you want to grow the best apples or the nicest sunflowers or whatever. It's a garden. And you should be aware of who you're inviting in, and are they helping you cultivate a better garden, or are they not? And to really look at what is it that you're trying to create, and who are you going to let into your garden, and keep at a distance.
Oh, bring the so bugs. Many jokes.
I know. I can already know what Greg is thinking. Okay. With that being said, before Greg's mind runs to too many jokes. Kevin / Justin / whoever you are, because you still got Kevin Wilder as your name on the screen. So Justin, tell us how to get in contact and basically how to learn more about Red X, since that's the main thing that you represent.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, if you go to redx.com, we have all our products there. If you're interested in seller leads and expired leads and our dialer and just basically a whole platform and suite dedicated to people who want to get listing appointments and want an easier time finding them and getting them, we have all that. The thing I would stress even above that, and first and foremost, is education. As a director of content, our team studies all the best prospectors, their practices, and on a continual basis takes that information, does interviews with them, as well as breaks down those processes into blog posts. And so I would recommend going to the RedX blog, redx.com, theredx.com/blog, and getting on our list to get the next update whenever we have one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a testimony, guys. I mean, about the quality of the product. I mean, it's like unwrapping a present every single day when you get on the program, because there's so many opportunities there, so many different verticals you can play in. I mean, again, I don't get paid by RedX. I don't get any subsidies by RedX. I just am a fan of their product. And I made 36 calls, I want to say, last week or something. If I can get to it fast enough on one of my, put 10 bajillion tabs. I will, show you guys. I can't get to it fast enough. Anyways, I made a ton of calls. Was a phenomenal success. Highly recommend you guys just go take a look at it. But Justin, I know you're not here to sell your product, but I just had to give it a little plug because I woke up this morning excited to get back on the phones, and that has not happened for months, more like a year almost. I've not been excited. I do it because I have to. Now it's just unwrapping a present. So I want to thank you and Red X for all the cool stuff you guys are doing.
I'll pass the word along.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And I accept discounts.
Greg, you're not like your lady friend. You can't be just bought off with food.
Well, no. She's more expensive than that.
Okay. All right. So before we sign off, for the podcast itself, make sure guys subscribe. You can do that. Shortcut links are all on reuncensored.com, or you can go straight to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever your weapon of choice is for consuming podcasts. We would appreciate a thoughtful review and rating on iTunes. Obviously, 5-star would be much preferred. But when you do leave a rating and review, make sure to let people know which guest you enjoyed. So if you like Justin's episode and you appreciate what he had to say, make sure to give him a public shout out in your review so that Justin knows and gets to get all the warm fuzzies, because we really appreciate his time. And then, Greg, how do people reach out and connect with you?
They call 402-336-1122. That would be Matt's personal cell phone number.
Good luck trying that one.
Go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, it's just bookmcdaniel.com. Guys, look, I'm deadly serious. I joke around a lot, but really seriously about this one. If you guys are thinking about EXP, if you're curious about where this is going to be going and about the whole digital brokerage, and it is going to explode. It already is exploding. There's multiple different brokerages that are doing this, but we are the only one that I know of right now that we have stock options where we can create now business and future income and passive income, all just by selling a house, guys. You do the same job, but you make more money long term. So if you're interested in making money, because I like money, come on over. Go to bookmcdaniel.com and let's talk. That's how we do it. Matt, we need a color for this bow tie, my friend. We need a color.
Oh man. Let me consult my Crayola box that you still haven't bought and sent me. Let's go with a nice. I'm feeling burnt orange. I'm feeling burnt orange today for something. Burnt orange, maybe even a sienna. But I'm feeling funky, so we could go with the sienna.
Okay, we'll go with sienna. I don't even know what that is. I was like, we say burnt orange, I thought of Gene Volpe all of a sudden. I'm like, Gene? Okay, a sienna. A sienna color, a bow tie on the show. Justin, you are a legend amongst men. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. I thank you for everything you and Red X are doing for our business, as real estate agents. So, all guys, I love you to pieces. Matt loves you to pieces. Even though he's a tiny little piece of coal as a heart, he still does care for you. And we will be back out here on the next episode. Until then, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.